Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everyone. We are live. It is Monday. It's a holiday for us here. Heritage Day, I believe it is called. Anyhow. Oh, my bedroom door was open and I haven't heard a little bit all night. He's out in the hallway. I got the girls in the other room and the door's closed. And how did I know he was in the hallway? Because he's bright in the darkness. Anywho, what you are versus what you want. I have told you this, or perhaps given you this analogy before, but let us go back to it. The analogy is this. If you wanted to purchase a house, who do you call? Well, you call a realtor. Yes? That's what you would do. But let us look at the deeper layer here. What makes you want to purchase a house? The desire to purchase the house did not materialize from thin air. It materializes because of a particular mood that you are in. So you want to be a homeowner. Now, because you want to be a homeowner, there's something or somewhere that you want this house to be. Because if you go to the realtor and you tell him, well, yes, I want to buy a house, they're going to say to you, well, yes, I know you want to buy a house because you're here. But then you've got to do something. You have to describe to the realtor the type of house that you want. Do you want a bungalow? Do you want a 2-story? Do you want a walkout basement? Do you want a picket fence? You want a large yard? Say that fast. Oh. Do you want to live in the suburbs? Do you want to live in the country? Do you want to live in the city? Do you want to be downtown? You see, the reason why the realtor asks you those questions is so that they can assist you in getting or choosing the best possible option. Because then one of the things they ask you is, have you been pre-approved for a mortgage? Now remember, you're buying a house, but something made you want to buy the house. Okay? Something made you want to purchase that house. What is it that makes you want to purchase the house? What is that feeling that's driving you to purchase that house? Okay, now, after the realtor asks you what you want, where you want it, what your budget is. The realtor will go out. He'll search through his computer to match your parameters. How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Right? He's going to ask all of those questions. You answer those questions based upon how you feel. You answer the questions of the realtor based upon how you feel. And when you answer the questions, the realtor will go out and whittle down this list and will take you to view what you have told him. So in other words, you have to mentally project from you to the realtor. You have to project that image of your house into the mind of the realtor so that you can go out and have a look in order to make a better choice. Now, when you go out and you look, you're only going to be looking at the things you told the realtor that you wanted. If you said you want a bungalow in the suburbs with a walkout basement, he's not going to take you downtown to look at a condo apartment with underground parking and no yard, because that is not what you requested. That is not the mental image that you projected from yourself into the mind of your realtor. You see, follow me now. So you go and you look at these places and you say, yes, yes, maybe. And you say, well, no, that's a hard pass. And you begin to see what was in your mind beginning to take shape on the outside. And you choose a particular property based upon the feeling that matches why you want to buy that house in the first place. Are you still with me? Okay, let's move on. So, one of those houses now is going to stand out. One of those houses, when you walk into it, it is almost as if the house speaks to you and says, oh, you want me. I meet all the criteria. Right? So what did you realize about this analogy? You are the one that has the original feeling because you're the point of origin. And that original feeling, you have to convey that feeling to the realtor. How though? By way of defining what you want. You just told a realtor, I want this house in this neighborhood for this amount of money. That's what you told the realtor. And so the realtor went out looking for the image that was most suitable, that matched what they interpreted from your projection. Now let's apply this to real life. You say you want to change. So your change requires what? It requires you defining what that change is and what it looks like. That is what your first step is. Because the change that you want to experience was brought about by a feeling. So remember, you want to buy the house, you had a feeling. There's some kind of a desire within you that says, I really want this type of house in this area with all these things. And when I see that house, it will be the representation of what I want. So whatever your issue is today is just like a house. You must clearly define what it is that you want to become. Now, something interesting happens when you say, I want to become this. Okay? Something interesting happens when you say, I want to become this. You get that feeling again. You get the corresponding feeling that matches the change. No need to write a list. Just get one thing, because remember, you saw that one house in your mind's eye. And that house represents where you want to be in life. That house represents how you feel. You look at the house, you walk in the house. You will either say, no, this is not the one, or yes, this is a perfect fit for me. Why would you say that? Because it matches how you feel. The image of the house matches how you feel. So you didn't arrive at the house out of boredom. You arrived at the house because you wanted to have a particular experience. And so the house that you purchase represents the experience you want to have. So if you say, I want to change my life from, well then, what is the image or the feeling that represents the change in your life? If you say, more money in the bank, what's the mood? What is the mood? I want more money in the bank. I gotta have more money in the bank. Or did you come up with an image because you recognized, oh, now if I had more money in the bank, how would I feel on a daily basis? Now you begin to paint a picture as to what you want to become. And you're going to go out into the world living as you normally would. And you will begin to collect different experiences. But one of them will match who you say you want to be to the image in your mind's eye. So just like the house and the neighborhood that you want to be in is a mood, the house represents the fulfilled mood. So what would you be doing if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be? Would you be living a life of contentment? Would you be peaceful? What would you be doing if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be? Well, imagine, if you will, that which you want to become. And you want to project that image from yourself into where? Well, if you look at it, you projected it from yourself into the realtor. That's how come the realtor was able to take you where you wanted to go, to look at the types of houses you said you wanted. So where are you projecting this image now of who you want to become? You're projecting it outside of yourself. Now, imagine, if you will, outside of yourself. You see, we have all these sights and sounds that we see on the outside. Now, we think that the outside is full of things. But I want you to imagine, if you will, that when you project something, you are projecting it into, I don't want to say a void or an abyss, but a womb, something that is just dark. You can't see it. But it is the mind it is the equivalent to the mind of the realtor that you are projecting who you say you want to become into. And as you project it by way of that image that was brought about by the feeling, you begin to have experiences. You begin to meet people. You begin to go places. And you say, whoa, I wanted to be more confident. I wanted to be more bold. And I said, if I were bold and confident, that I'd walk into a room and I'd be able to shake anybody's hand and look them in the eye without a problem. So you see, you are projecting outward from yourself who you say you want to become. Such is life. We project who we want to become out into here's the word, ether then. It's thick and it's gooey, it's sticky. And because you have impressed the feeling by way of that image into the ether, remember, Neville Goddard says creation is finished. Right? Remember, Neville Goddard said creation is finished. So you and I, on a daily basis, we are constantly projecting what we are out into the ether, out into the great womb of existence. And because we cannot see that that is what we are doing, we think that the experiences we have are, quote unquote, random or coincidental or willy-nilly, when in actuality, they are not. They emerge from you. So if you find yourself in a pickle at the moment, you and I projected ourselves out into that situation. How? By way of the feeling. Remember the realtor. You called the realtor up and said, I want to purchase this house. But in order to tell the realtor that, you had to feel the neighborhood. You had to feel the type of house. How? It was one particular mood. You see, for those who live on acreages and in the country, there's this sense of peace and tranquility that they like. That's why they were driven to get that type of house based upon the feeling of owning that property. So it is exactly the same way. The image of the house, you projected it out from yourself into the mind of the realtor so that you said bungalow, the realtor searched and looked for what? Bungalow. You did not say bungalow and the realtor said, well, let's go look at condos. Anytime that happens and you say, well, I'm getting the opposite of what I want, remember two things. You cannot ever get the opposite. You will always get the corresponding experience that matches the mood. So the mood and the external are going to match, and they will match by way of feeling. Because when you walk into the house and you say, oh, this is the one, how do you know it's the one? Because of the way it makes you feel, it matches the feeling you projected outward. And the reason why we get caught up and confused and we say, oh my God, I got the opposite. The reason why we say that is because we do not recognize the mood that we are presently occupying.